Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Stores located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And today is Movified Wednesdays. Welcome, Stephen Reed from Ready Rolls and Big League Movers, and also Ryan Marsh with Supermove and a former mover and the player in the game. Whenever you're at a trade show, you are going to see this smiling face wherever you go. What's up, Ryan?
How's it going, Mark? Steven, good to see you boys again, and many trade shows to come here, so super pumped to see all these smiling faces here soon.
I asked Ron his schedule earlier. He's got a heavy one coming up.
Yeah, I just need you like the first 2 months, Steve. That's it. We still got the whole rest of the year to go.
And that's the wild part is, when we were all talking just pre-show, one of the big things that I found myself at was I went to go see a naturopath, like literally like this morning. And it was because I was looking at myself going, why is my energy a bit tweaked? Why am I working out every day, putting on weight? And how is my day? Like, how was my calendar? And, when I think pre-October, I was working out almost every afternoon or early evening, right? Like that was my regimen, like work all day, focus. This is, the most impactful areas of my day, focus on the most productivity. And then in the evening, I was like, I'm just going to burn all the rest out, because if it's not doing this, I'm probably just going to sit on the couch or watch a TV show or just mentally be exhausted from the world. And then I switched things out. We had the Titan retreat in October. I had 2, 3, 4, 5 different conferences that I was off to, realizing that, you're that time difference of traveling all the time.
Let's not forget you're winning awards out there.
And I'm winning awards out there. So, I got to make sure I am like ready to roll. But what I realized was, it could be 2:00 in the morning on the West Coast, but it's 5:00 in the morning on the East Coast. And half the guys that I'm traveling with or, visiting, they're like, hey, let's get up. Time to go to the gym. We're doing this. We're doing that. And I loved that early morning workout. So I went back to my calendar, came back, refocused, and says, I'm just going to work out and do my mornings, right? Set up be part of that 5 a.m. club. 5 a.m. rolls around, get out of bed. This is what you got to do. But I realized I was not dropping weight. I was not having the proper consistencies of how I was managing my energy. So here I go, see this naturopath. This is exactly what she said to me. She's like, Mark, you are actually making yourself sugar in your system. You are doing heavy workouts. You are doing, a lot of high product energy that you're putting out there when you actually have a lower, I think it was the average rate temperature, whatever the situation was. She's like, we need to adjust this. You need to figure out what's going on. And I find as business owners, we run down this pathway of, how do we manage our energy? How are we managing our calendar? And I want to kind of shoot this over to Ryan because like Steven said, you got all these conferences and events. You were telling me the other day, you're getting hit with a cold by just jumping around from one location to another. Like, how are you managing your energy and your time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm probably not the best at this, but it's something I am learning that I've got to dive deeper into. I mean, you look at just my past, 14 days. We had LA, New York, down to Mexico City, then Cleveland, Ohio. Then I made the 6-hour drive back. And that's probably why, and again, I know I sound terrible now. I've got COVID right now. I feel absolutely terrible. Had the flu in the beginning of the week. This week's been crazy, but I think the biggest thing for me is just time blocking. I set specific blocks of time each and every day to knock out different tasks, and not just work tasks, personal tasks, but also family time, family things. Another thing is I have this little 2-minute rule here that I've always kind of worked with. And I learned this back in the moving industry because I feel like, death by 1,000 pinpricks. It's not the large chunks of things that we have to do that feels like it holds me back. It's all these little mundane things that just keep pecking and pecking away at you that it gets my anxiety going crazy. So if I can do a task in 2 minutes or less, I'm going to knock that shit out. I'm going to knock it out quick as possible.
Yeah, right then. Speed, right? Hit that.
Are you someone to do checklists? Like when you're organize your calendar, like I've started to realize over the last 6 months that I now, I used to just, kind of put more important meetings or people that have invited me to a meeting. I always found like those were those were in my calendar. I always made sure that, I knew what I was up against. But then I started to realize lately is I really need to document everything. Every 15 minutes, every half an hour, I am, what is on my calendar. This is like, calling to a structure. But recently I've been told to actually include checklists within that time frame, because of that sense of accomplishment that you're like, all right, check, this is done, check. Because I'm probably one of the worst procrastinators when I have to delegate something on myself that I don't want to do. But, do you find yourself now, especially when you're going to a conference, that you have to run off a checklist?
Not necessarily when I'm at a conference, but basically everything leading up to a conference and everything leading up to basically the wild, mundane, crazy work that we do over here in the tech side of the house. But yeah, I mean, not only do I have my normal, and just, I don't know if you guys can even see this, but, there's an average day right there, right? But I only have
Mine's right
this.
here, big on my screen right here. So
It's crazy. You look at this and like the anxiety just starts creeping in. But what I also like to do is, and this is so old school and it's probably going to go against everything software related, but I will also just kind of highlight these on a sheet of paper and just write just quick bullet points. And as I basically check the box or the task, I actually physically check those things off. So I can almost physically see where I'm at for the day, but also it's kind of that feel good of like, look what I did, or look what we did, or what have you. Just kind of the, it makes you feel good. And another thing that I've been trying to do every day, and it's very difficult to do, especially if you're getting some of these deeper projects, is, I will bust butt for 25 minutes. I will just straight grind. No notifications, no phone, no nothing. Get after it for 25 minutes. And then I put the pen down and sit back for 5 minutes. Give it 5 minutes, rest, basically let that brain just kind of get back to being human again. And then I dive right back into it for another 25 minutes. And I've been trying to do that each and every day. And I feel like it's working. I don't know if that's a mental piece or not, but
do you have a time block that ends the day or begins the day with resetting your calendar, right?
at the end of the day, I have 15 minutes and I basically kind of sit back and go, oh, wow, look what I did today, or look what I at least tried to accomplish today. But more importantly, what's on the schedule for tomorrow? So I always heavily review my next day's schedule. Always, always, always. Because it always changes.
Sunday, is it a little more time, or are you waking up early Monday on that for planning your week?
Honestly, man, Steven, Monday through Sunday, there's no days, there's no weekends. So it's not like, hey,
you're doing your weekend that way. Yeah.
My weekends I'm operating the other business. My nights are operating the other piece there. So it's a constant go. It's a constant go. So obviously great topic here with the time management piece, because we're all running a million different directions here, but how do you basically manage that?
I really try and be effective because I have a much more higher creative side, that sometimes like first thing in the morning, even before I even hit the gym, I will be pumping out some type of idea, something creative to my VA with regards to something about social media. Hey, we got to do something like this, right? Like I get sometimes the most creative, first thing in the morning, or sometimes like super late at night where it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I get this like second wind and I just get into like this total mode. But I try and really have a lot of my meetings. The reason why we film our podcast in the afternoon is because it's kind of one of those ones where it's like we've dealt with our day, and this is a little bit more of that relaxing talk, chit chat, compared to doing something like first thing in the morning where we're going to be the most productive on a creative side. Do you guys how do you build your day, Steven?
You know me. You know why you're asking me this question. Again, I'm very ADHD. Have studied a lot of my brain, the ADHD brain. I've taken advantage of the billions and billions of dollars of research on my ADHD, and so in my brain and how it works. And so, checklist, I do checklists. Just to kind of run through that, I do a lot of checklists. Do I ever check anything off? No. Do I ever do the things that's going on those checklists? Yes, I do have to have that pause and to make a checklist, right? But once it goes in my brain, I'm never going to go back to that. It's in there. I've manifested it. It's in my time blocks. I am creative. That's very smart, Mark. In the morning, I'm the same way. So 3 to 4 a.m., I'm reading the Bible. right? And then I'm reading the news. So I'm reading my Memphis news. I'm reading my Biz Journal. I'm seeing my Apple News or whatever. And that's what I do from 3 to 4 every day.
It's so funny, you know, I could totally see Steven just being like that, because I'm just imagining Memphis and not being from Memphis, but that you just would have like this white rocking chair on your porch, and there's Steven with a cup of coffee, just reading the Memphis news, you know, just like rocking away, watching the birds go.
Hey, moving owners, if you're not at the top of Google, your competitors are taking the calls and book jobs that should be going to you. You're at war with them, and they are winning because they rank higher than you on Google. At Rotate Digital, we use the perfect blend of AI, secret blog networks, and moving industry SEO experts to make sure your business dominates Google in your area. We go to war online for you so that every Google search turns into your new customer and not your competitors. Stop losing to your competition and become the go-to moving titan in your area. Visit RotateDigital.com today to see who's outranking you and take the next step to booking more jobs from Google.
Moving companies, you know referrals are the best leads, right? But communicating with customers, tracking progress, managing payouts, it's just overwhelming. That's why at Snowball, we do it all for you. And we're really good at it. In fact, in just a few months, the Snowball platform helped JK Moving generate over $200K in new revenue. We even helped New City Moving book 30 moves in a single month. If you have happy customers, we can get you referrals. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get the first 2 months on us.
Exactly.
Yeah, not reality. No, well, reality is me hitting the button on the adjustable base and moving up. And then from 3 to 4, I'm doing that. But 4 to 7, Chris, my VA, my ready roll assistant is, she sets me up. So 4 to 7 is kind of my ongoing list. I'm going to knock out my social media. Y'all know that. Like, you'll see a big blitz of content that kind of goes on in the groups or answering questions or whatever it may be. Turn your notifications off on my messages if you talk to me on the DMs. But I'm doing those contacts. I'm pushing my creativity. I'm saying, hey, I talked to a couple of movers about this. I can help this out, and I'm throwing out some content or doing a few podcasts. So 4 to 7, I always have an ongoing list going on. 7 or 8, I do something working out, physical, Peloton. I do a little bit of DDP yoga recently this year, kind of cool. Helping with my stretching. I'm getting old. So liking that a little bit, but 7 to 8, I'm doing that. Probably not as much as a lot of you, but I'm doing that, and it's helping a lot.
What's your Peloton name? I'm going to find you on there and catch you.
All right, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. I don't want to do a whole moving arm. I don't want the moving army joining my Peloton club, and I got to catch up to them. But yeah, I want to share it to you. Are you on there?
Yeah, I'm on there. I just do the scenic routes. Actually, you probably might only see about 4 or 5 rides.
I get yelled at.
Are you a bike? Are you a bike Peloton or a treadmill Peloton?
I'm a bike.
Bike.
Are you a treadmill?
No, bike.
No, I'm a bike. I can't stand treadmills.
So it was 7 to 8. We can go talk all day about that. That's another conversation. But 7 to 8, working out a little bit. 8 to 8:30, I'm eating breakfast with my kids, talking about their day, setting them up. Sometimes I drop them off, sometimes I'm not. Showering 8:30 to 9. 9 o'clock, I'm teed up by Chris every day. It's the flywheel flow, right? And the first agenda she's going over is my calendar, retro actually. Here's the action items that you promised people yesterday. Here's what I'm able to knock out. Here's what I put in your 4 to 7 time, or a time slot that's open in my near future, right? Now, every meeting I have in the next day, she's going over the future day, and she's putting meeting notes. Usually I've already reviewed them, but I might have some more questions. So this podcast, I had a bio of Ryan. But she doesn't really update me with Mark. I think she knows Mark. She knows I know Mark, but she has a bio of Ryan as she saw he was a guest on there. On that side, we're going over things that I wanted to add in. Hey, I got a message here. I have a consult coming up here. Hey, I'm seeing some spillover. I really need to meet with Jeff DeLeon, my operations manager. She's telling me red flags. So like I have what I call red light, green lights, and everybody does reporting in different departments, and she's telling me what's red. And then I go about my day. Again, I'm ADHD, so some of this stuff might not be the best for everybody in here, but this is how my day flows. From there, I'm set up for meetings. Chris knows my goal is to grow ready rolls. Chris knows my goal is to grow big league movers, and Chris knows my goal is to do on deck deliveries. So every day I have a different focus. Now there's some things that come in between my focus, right? But Monday I'm flywheel, which is my org chart, right? Tuesday I'm big league movers. Wednesday I'm on deck delivery, and Thursday I'm ready roll. So I'm working with those teams more focused. Now there's stuff that comes up more urgent and I have to cross, but her knowing that I'm ADHD and hyper focused on things, she's trying to keep them in those buckets every day. So after 9, we're rolling on and we're going to our meetings. She likes to try to make sure I have lunch. I like to work through lunch. So we do, that first meeting, flywheel flow, is 30 minutes on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 hour on Monday and Friday, and it usually goes over the whole week schedule when they're longer. And we go over some marketing on Friday. And so I keep those in those buckets. A very important thing to me is I am a nutcase about it. Chris would tell you, but I need 15 minutes in between meetings, no matter what. I need time to digest what Ryan told me about Supermove's new AI pilot, their call thing, that I got to ask about after this. But I need those times to kind of absorb what the heck just happened, or I found myself in my family time thinking about all of my day and they didn't get me. So I needed that 15 minutes to digest. In that 15 minutes while I'm digesting, I'm hitting my Slack. So I'm checking up my catch up on Slack, which is my whole team, right? I'm checking my messages. I'm saying, what up, Mark had a question. Let me call him back. Or what's the topic of the podcast? Or Ryan's telling me about something cool Supermove's got going on. And
or we're both
checking my
messaging
messages.
or we're both messaging each other going, oh, wait a second, don't forget we both are so heavily distracted. Do you remember that conversation we had like 2 weeks ago and we were trying to hit this point and that point? Can we re-loop here?
Yeah.
And then now what I start trying to do is, okay, so just to clarify, these are the 2 things that we need answered.
Yes. Yeah. Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back.
So I'll go into and sometimes my third is social media. So that's the one I don't get to too much during the day, but you'll see me pop in pockets at night, a good amount. But I do that day every day, and I love my life. I plan out my time with my family. Fridays, I leave for overflow. I was going over the company. Friday's important to me. I protect. It's overflow day. So if I get behind or I go to a conference on a Tuesday, I have that day protected. I get a massage on every other Friday, or a haircut, or something for me that I can just turn off my head and think about the week ahead or the week that just happened. And I need those pockets. Or I found myself for years with my wife and my family, just like 1 million things going through my head and them talking and me just going, And so the biggest thing that I did was that 15 minutes. It took me a while to get here.
Yeah. No, sorry. So go on. It took you a while to get here.
Ahead. But yeah, it took me a while to get here. It really did. I had to plan time. So I had time blocks that worked for anything so I could fill in stuff, right? And notifications are really big with me. Like I said, that Slack and that Messenger, as I'm talking to you guys, the only people that'll catch my attention in any of those things are, well, Elaine, my office manager, Chris, and then you have my wife and my parents. So I think one of the podcasts, Mark, you were like, who's texting you right now? I was like, it's got to be my I do have to check it. It's somebody important. It's got to be my mom. So that's kind of, I am routine as can be, and I am happy as can be in my life, and I am supported by Chris, and who's watching my schedule at all times. And so that's kind of how I've been able to do it now at this time. And it's a work in progress too. You know, I used to do it every 2 months, but every 3 months, this might be an ADHD thing. Every 2 months, I got to kind of look at it for a couple of hours one day and say, yeah, I want to switch it up a little bit. I'd rather do on deck deliveries on Tuesday. I just need some change.
I
So
remember
that drives Chris crazy a little bit.
I remember having a conversation with you several months ago, or maybe it was just before Christmas, where you were giving me the explanation of how you structure your days between businesses. And it made me reflect on going, man, I really need to focus on how I structure having the moving company, having the family, having the podcast, as instead of having so much of it amalgamated all within each other. Like I was like, okay, great. Yeah, I can put you in to do a podcast on a Monday, and let's do a Tuesday, and let's do a Wednesday. And sure, I can fit you in on a Friday, instead of going, okay, I need to really block out certain time periods and say, okay, great. You know what? Tuesdays and Thursdays, anybody that wants to do a podcast, these are the times, this is the section. And now I've slowly gone into that whole space of going, this is my time frame. Like this is where I can block you in, because the rest needs to be focused everywhere else. I want to also follow up with, I used to always think that my mornings of going to the gym was that mental clarity, that bit of meditation, because it was like, this is where I'm tuned out to the rest of the world. I got my music on and I'm working out. But you completely reminded me, Stephen, of how many times I become the did you hear what I said? And I totally missed the importance of completely being self-aware of me and my wife and the time, or with my children, of going, okay, this is, you have me 100%. Like there's times where I'm playing with my son and I'm like, oh, there's a message, or I got another message. Like, we get highly distracted by our mobile devices all the time, that even if I have it on.
Yeah, a really good movie.
For sure.
I've been impacted in my life by Adam Sandler. Just kidding, but a really good movie, Click.
Oh, totally.
That kind of puts that in perspective. Yeah, and it's like, he can, what the movie's about is he's in kind of our life where our kids are young and stuff, and he's in that mundane. It's like, I wish I could fast forward to work tomorrow because I got all these things to get to, and that controller of life starts fast forwarding a lot, right? Of that, hey, let me get back to work tomorrow. Let me get back to work tomorrow. So it was really actually impactful. That movie stayed with me a little bit.
Have you seen this movie, Ryan?
I have not, but just after listening to Steven's schedule and how he handles everything and the movie Click, like I've got to make some freaking changes here.
Well, I wouldn't recommend that as like an embodied movie to focus on, and this is how I'm going to organize my life. But yeah, Steven just reminded me, like Christopher Walken's in it. It's a great, there's a lot of good laughs, and as a business owner, it's definitely one of those things where you should watch it when you're on a plane ride, or you have some time and you just want like a distraction, because it is a heavy reality check of where our lives are on a day-to-day basis.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some VAs, and they've done an amazing job. They found the perfect candidate for our company to fill the right role for our company. And not only that, they helped us answer any questions that we had about the process. Initially, hiring a VA can be a bit intimidating. So they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. Our VA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them as being a key part of our growth and reaching our goals in 2025 and beyond. So, the game changer for our company, I'm confident will be a game changer for you as well.
Visit readyrolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
If we are not building proper habits following the course and setting goals in our lives that aren't just dreams, but we're setting up deadlines in our lives. And I think that's also the biggest factor when we're trying to operate around a business. There's so many of us that, okay, great. Yeah, I have 12 goals. These are the goals I want to do for the year. This is the goal I have for this week. This is the goal for I have that month. And we're not checking off that list of saying, I've achieved that goal. Instead, it just becomes another dream. You're just like, okay, great. I've just pushed it on. There was a book that I was reading, or somebody had told me that I was probably watching through a scroll, where the biggest thing to me that really resonated for me, because I love having the opportunity to read a book when I can read a book, is I used to be the guy that would read 3 or 4 pages and then be like, okay, yeah, I something else is coming up. So cool. I've read like 3 or 4 pages, where I'd be at the beach, and you're relaxing, you're just reading a little bit. And because I'm a bit of a slow reader, I would be more than happy that I've read 5 or 6 pages and then carried on the next day. And someone said to me, or didn't say to me, maybe it was just talking to me, said, if you start a chapter, finish the chapter. Make that as your goal. Like, if you're going to sit down and read a book, make sure you at least completed that chapter, so that hey, I hit my goal. I read a whole chapter, and it should hopefully resonate with you a lot more, right? You should be able to like retain more of that chapter that you read than the 3 or 4 pages that you just quickly read while moving on. So that has worked for me definitely in a lot of the books that I've started reading, because I'm like, oh, cool, I'm actually finishing this book. I'm not like 3 ways through and just stopping. So
yeah, no, it kind of fish, and that's block time. I think Ryan mentioned that earlier a little bit. Is if it's not 2 minutes, I do 5 minutes. But if it's something that's going to take you more than that, go ahead and block off a time in the future to knock it out. Right, block off a time for you to finish that chapter. Or that oftentimes we leave that thing behind and never finish it, and that's where we waste time.
Now, do you during both of your days, probably more towards Steven on this question, but do you ever try and block in gas meetings? So the definition of gas, got a second, right? The got a second meetings. The amount of times where, you are at the office, you're trying to be focused, you are blocking your time of your day. And I find this happens more often than once, and it's a gas meeting. Right? Hey, got a second? Hey, can I just quickly talk to you? And that talk to you turns into a half an hour to 45 minutes. And now it's followed into another task that you were hoping to achieve and get done.
You got to say no. Well, you have to learn that at a certain point. And you have to, your people that are asking for that time have to understand that you're not wasting it. You're not being rude. You have something. So my team has visibility in my calendar. There are periods where when I recognize there's people that need gotta seconds, I'll start scheduling a 15-minute check-in. Right, where I have, and I usually have a few people at a time on a 15-minute check-in call. Where it's not on a Zoom or anything. It's just a time where it's got a second. Right? Hey, let's wrap. Right. And so when there's people in that zone that need me when something's struggling, I put them on that in between the meetings that we have on a week. Right. If we're not meeting, I'm going, hey, what's going on? What do you got for me? That time's for them to come to me. Right. That time's for them to ask me questions. That time's of how they want to use it. But yeah, I have that got a second time, but I did have to I was a pleaser, right? Ready rolls helped me. That's why I started going down the VA route, because I would tell, till I'm blue in the face, man. I tell everybody I'll meet them tomorrow because I want to, right? Everything's a priority to me, right? So I have to send people, I have to big league them. I have to send people to Mary Chris, because Mary Chris will actually put them where I'll meet them. It's not big leaguing somebody, is what I explained. I promise. I think I told you this, Mark and Ron. I'm not big leaguing you at all. I'll just always try to meet you. If I don't go through Chris, I'll be annoying you. So that's what helps me is go through my gatekeeper. She's actually going to make sure I meet you. There's so many people that I try on the side to meet with me. blah, blah, blah. And eventually they learn just to go to Chris because I'm going to promise them I'll be there. And it won't.
One of the things that I found was, Ryan, what were you going to say?
I got to do a better job at saying no. Because the more I hear these gas meetings, like I just think of just today alone, it's 7:45. I got a thing on Slack. Hey, can we huddle? Of course. I don't ever say no. That's probably my biggest downfall. That's something I do need to change. So I appreciate you, Steven and Mark, for this one, because I didn't know what the hell a gas meeting was. But now I think about it, like the tank is full of that shit at this point.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, reflect on those too, No, I don't have a second.
I want to jump on two of those points that, Steven, you brought up, and we're kind of on a good topic here. I was listening to a video clip that Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time, was talking about, and him saying to himself, "Oh, I'm a Canadian as well too. Most Canadians follow the people pleaser type of mentality. We always hate saying no. We're very nice and kind." But what he found is that when he was trying to block the times, and he was making sure that if he was doing a task, it would be so he would make sure that like Ryan was inviting me, right? So even though I wanted to have some type of meeting or get something done, if it had to involve Ryan, I would make sure that if Ryan was sending the invite, if he was making sure that we were doing something together, I would mentally go, great, I'm helping him, but I'm getting a task done. Because if I was doing it on my own, then I would probably procrastinate. I probably wouldn't get it done as fast enough. So sometimes, saying yes to something or trying to get trying to do something, if you can try and manipulate it so that you're applying the right actions. Am I making sense here? If you can hit a double whammy, they always say kill two birds with one stone. Within the actions of setting up a meeting,
yeah,
then you are actually making a bigger impact in how you're managing your time, right? So if I go to the gym, for sure, if I go to the gym and then know I have to go home before I got to go to the office because I got to go home and take a change of clothes and take a shower, but if I knew that gym had a shower, I'm saving myself the 10 minutes of going home, the 4 minutes of taking a shower. I was going to say like 10 minutes of taking a shower, but however long. Ryan, I know you like baths, so that could be like a 45-minute, event for you.
I'm no bath guy. Get out of here with that. But I take more a 4-minute shower. Who takes a 4-minute shower?
I don't know.
Gotta be 10 minutes.
What, a 10-minute shower?
I mean, how do you after the gym sweat? Like, how do you even?
Oh, I know.
Get it
I
all clean?
I was thinking, time is money. If I was Stephen Reed, this guy's showering while he's
Ryan,
drinking.
Mark doesn't have the hair to
I don't have to. There's no shampoo conditioner with this guy.
Was there no shampoo and conditioner there? Maybe a little bit of olive oil or lotion at the end of the day.
That's right. Gotta get that
that's
nice Mr. Clean, nice Mr. Clean rub down. And then the other part, Stephen, that I kind of want to touch on is you had mentioned, that Claire and your EAs are handling your emails, whether they're a response or anything else. For those that are listening that are like, man, I would love an EA. Like, I know one of the biggest tasks that I started doing with my EA is, I used to flag emails accordingly, right? Because I wanted to get back.
Get out of your the first rule in time management. We should have just said first. Sorry to cut you off. I think you're going here, but I'm passionate about this. Get out of your dang email. You're not avoiding it, but only go back to it. If you're stuck 3 times a day and time block it, but start your day and end your day with your email. Don't live in it. You're not going to get work done that way.
Well, and I agree with that on that one.
Yeah,
no, I agree with that on that one. And this is where I'm going to ask you to fine tune it and maybe answer my problem where I'm at. And it could be for other people that are trying to be like, cool, I got an executive assistant, or I have someone in my office that, has access to my emails or my work schedule, but they don't know me. Like, they haven't figured out my whole day plan. So I started flagging emails that I knew, I was checking my emails in the morning, right? And if I saw something important, or if I was in a meeting and I had 5-10 minutes to spare between a other meeting and I didn't have the time to actually sit down, have an email response, or, articulate what kind of situation was coming in. Maybe it was a mover complaint. Maybe it was, about a marketing idea, or somebody's reaching out to me. I would flag my emails and have my EA set up a reminder for myself later in the day, at the end of the day, to be like, these are the emails that you flagged. Have you taken care of them? And then the next morning, she actually reiterates it to me again and says, this is your schedule for the day. This is what you have of the most important tasks, because I'll highlight it and red flag it kind of like you do, saying these are the most important meetings that you have today. These are the ones that are in there, but not that important. And did you take care of these flagged emails? Because for myself, if I know I'm being held accountable, I have to check it off. I have to make sure that I am consistent in my processes every day. And my question to you, though, is if I want to take it a step further and I want now my EA to be able to answer the emails back, to be able to respond to those that are emailing, what type of, can you please not cough? Like
I know, I need to hit.
I'm
Gotta hit that mute button.
myself.
I
I've been
know.
coughing the whole episode here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just such a jerk. Can you, what,
You're a jerk.
you're a jerk. What is that step? Like, how are you onboarding that EA to go, this is how Stephen Reed talks, and this is how I answer my emails, and I say it with a Southern accent? Like, how are you having that done? Because there are lots of times I'm emailing you and I don't know who's emailing me back. I'm like, is it Stephen?
Chris.
Is it not?
Yeah,
Is
Mary
it Chris?
Chris is emailing you back,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right. So
And she's updating me about it.
So this brings up a good point. So the few times I've emailed you, Steve, and it's not you responding?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
But I approve it. I approve
I was
it.
looking at him like, Steve Reed responded to me so quickly.
So I
gentleman, what a nice guy that was, man.
Yeah.
I approve. So here's how we work it, and this is what we do at Ready Rolls. So day one, calendars, everything, and time zones are a bit different. We want to make sure that your first impression on a sale or whatever it is not going to be a wrong time zone or whatever it is. So day one, we're going in there and we're putting something that kind of follows you that you can record and not, to record your action items. So it's kind of like the Chris scenario. What we're doing is we meet with you for 30 minutes. We're asking for delegate access, right? We'd never share your Google password with anybody. It has way more that you do a sign in on than just your work email. If you're set up that way, but we do a delegate access. We go through the calendar. We're asking you for 30 minutes that day. What's your calendar now? And what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be business development? Okay, you're hung up in operations. You don't use it now. Whatever it is, I'm going to remind you to use this app every day. And we're teaching the Ready Roll in the background how to set that up for you, because it's such a big deal. And so day 3, we come in, same thing on email, delegate access, right? We're going to give you access, but not share your password. We're going to get in your email and we're going to get our hands dirty. So we're going to go into the background, and just like Mark said, he flagged some stuff, but that's what we're doing. We're studying your email. You can tell so much about somebody, about who they forward emails to. Okay, well, I'm going to ask him if this is the sales manager. A lot of sales stuff's going this way. You can tell so much about how fast somebody responds. Look at that. Got it that time. You can tell somebody not only just how fast they respond, but you can tell how important it is, how much emphasis they put in that email. Is it just a one-liner, or does he go back and forth? Who are your complicated people? Because nobody should have a thread more than 5 emails, right? Are we creating work here? What's the close on this thread, right? And so we're studying that for 2 days. There's a lot of exercises we're doing. We strongly recommend that you have a ChatGPT work membership for your VA. It's worth the dollars, because what we do is we set up custom instructions, custom channels, and we're putting in emails to develop a voice for you, right? And so we're teaching your Ready Roll to do what we call a STAR method. I should know the acronym, but pretty much what you're doing is we're unsubscribing from junk of your catch-all, your email. We're teaching your Ready Roll how to use ChatGPT and draft things for you. We don't send. We're not teaching anything to send, but stuff that we're answering is you like that? You like that? Just right back at it. Stuff that we're answering We're doing where it's stuff that we find that you're supposed to answer. So we're gonna draft it, get it approved. Right? It's not gonna be perfect at first, but it's gonna be starting to talk to your VA, change it.
So this is all still pre, right? So you have taken some of the emails, you have started drafting back of what kind of answers the EA
Yeah,
is
that's what
going to be
we're
built.
teaching your VA to do that.
Exactly.
Right? So
And then eventually at that point, once I've accepted going, yeah, this is typically how I would answer. This is typically what I would do. That's it. Are you being CC'd in these emails? Like, are you just checking all the sent emails? Like, have you ran into a situation where you're like, oh shit, like this email definitely shouldn't have said this?
no, well, at first with controls, right? So draft an email. Big thing is draft, don't send, right? Especially at the first stages. As you gain trust, you get more. But and the other side is get it to the right person in the organization and make it a task. Me being ADHD, if I have a realtor that I love and have a relationship with, and she says, "Hey, I got a client," what do you think I do, Mark? You know me enough, Ryan. What do you think I'm going to do? I want to talk to that realtor for an hour. How you been? How's business? How can I help you? I don't see it, and she knows to go to my sales, right? So she's going straight to the sales, but she's putting a task. If they don't follow through in a certain time, then she's bringing it to me, but I never know about it before, right? So she's keeping up with, I got important emails, FYIs, she stars for me. They're always in my inbox, so I clear those out. And then in that daily meeting, we're going over those drafts and we're going over FYIs in case I haven't had time to look at those. Right. Why she thinks it's FYI.
I got to ask you, Steve, do you send any emails? Or
I trust Mary Chris a lot
or...
now. So through that process, no.
You know, the best part was, Ryan, is I had sent Steven an email being like, look, man, you know what? Can you just send me $5,000 like by tomorrow? And I got a reply being, no problem, buddy. Here you go. Done. And he didn't even hit send. He had no idea. He just figures Chris is, oh yeah, it's so smart. Don't worry about it. So sell the bag.
So Chris has no access to any banking. Chris has no access to any banking. That's got to go to me to approval, right? But,
well, hopefully she just sends that right off to finance for you.
She does.
Hi everyone, it's your favorite mover, Austin Yarbrough, and welcome to my school. The school is named Moving Army because it's inspired by Andy Elliott's team, and we've got some amazing changes coming for the moving industry, and I can't wait to work with you. In this school, we will be doing a 100-day fitness challenge. Wow. So what this means is we are going to be working out for 45 minutes minimum physical activity for 100 straight days. Stay tuned for more information and let's get moving.
You know,
I'm assuming you probably don't check
Elaine and Audi over there are like, they need to ask questions on that. Why does Mark need $5,000?
They're going to red flag it, and then they're going to go to my EA and go, wait a second, are you not being on top of Mark? Why is his expenses so high? Why is he borrowing money from Steven?
Oh yeah, we know if there is something wrong with Mark's or on anything that I'm like, he sounds like he's busy. Let's check in with his VA. My team's like, how's everything? Can we support you in any way? And Mark will text me. Did I do something? Did I do something wrong? Your team's checking in with my VA. And I'm just like, hey, we're just seeing how we can help on that side.
Yeah, they're really good on that one. Yeah,
Pam's great.
There is a saying that says, if you do something more than once, create a system out of it. Are you both trying to follow that method? Something I'm trying to do, whether I am talking out using like Firefly.ai or Loom, or even recording myself in a meeting, on Zoom, to record out if I have a goal, if I have some type of task, or if I know that I am doing something on a repetitive basis. Like almost every Monday, I'm emailing my kids' school to let them know what that schedule looks like for an after-school program. Is he going in early? Does he have this appointment? Does he have that? And now I'm getting my EA in charge of that. But now it's like, if I'm doing that on a regular week, I should just have that as a system process, because I'm repeating that all the time. if there's a task within, I'm gonna for people that don't know, Ryan owns a sub shop, right? Right, this is your business, is it?
yeah.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is your time.
this
Let's
is
hear it. Let's do it. Let's
right.
hear
This
a
is your
plug,
sandwich
Ryan.
shop, right? Like, congratulations! I love it that it's outside the moving, and we're gonna plug this. Where is your shop?
Elmira Heights, New York. Nobody knows where the hell that is, but
No idea.
southeast of Syracuse University, we'll say, an hour and a half southeast. Close
And
enough.
what's it called?
The Sub Shop.
Very original. That's amazing.
Simple, basic. You don't drive by and say, "What is this place?" It is what it is. It's there. It's written on the wall.
We should go there, Steven, and be like, you guys don't have pizza? I thought this was a pizza shop.
Trust me, we get a lot of questions like that. People walk in and say, "Hey, you guys don't have this," and it's like,
and this is where the question kind of dives into, is that when you are, especially when you're thinking of a sub shop, there's, you got your bread, if you're making it in house, there's all these different checklists, there's all these different protocols that you have to keep and make sure everybody's accountable. But have you found, having this shop where, you've been given the outline playbook, this is how we do it Monday to Sunday, or, if you're open up every single day, where a new process where you found, like, whether it was a manager, an employee, whether it was yourself, that had found another tool, another method, a system within the organization that you're like, man, we're keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like, we really need to implement this. Let's build it into an SOP and make sure this system's being followed. Has that ever happened?
100%. And I think one thing what I love about our team is that we're always challenging the process. I don't care if it's something that's working super smooth right now. We're always in the back of our minds is, how can we challenge the process each and every day, whether it's how we order bread, what type of bread we order, how we order the meat, whatever it is. We're always trying to find more ways to be efficient, which ultimately, can have a better experience for the customer. So always challenging the process. And I think that's something that we did back in the moving side of the house as well, because when I first jumped in the moving side, all those legacy practices that were out there. And I remember this goes back into, mid 2000s. It was, we came across these TVs and, you got to crate the TVs. And I'm like, why am I crating a 32-inch TV? Like, put this thing in a mirror cart and let's go. To get a $300, $400, $500 crate for a $100 TV makes no sense. But again, our organization at the time was stuck back from 1999 with the plasma TVs, right? That had to be crated at that time. But, I just think it goes back to always challenging the legacy practices and finding new ways to work. And that's something that I took from the moving side of the house and really transitioned over to the sub side of the house, sort of say. Yeah, always looking for new ways, always challenging the process, and always having fun while doing so.
I think that's good too. Like, I go back and say, where did I start? How did I start when I was on fire and so busy, and people saying, buy your work week back, and I never checked my email, and how unreal that sounded. The first step you do, like Ryan's mentioning out, like Mark's mentioning out, is write down everything you do in a day. If you're not doing it proactively, do it reactively. What did I do today? And that's when you start lining up and seeing, like Ryan's talking about, why was I spending 30 minutes on trying to sell somebody a $400 crate on a TV? I need to look in that process and fix it for everybody. I've noticed I've done this twice lately. Just start writing your stuff down. The first thing you need to do is go to readyrolls.com. The second thing you need to do is write your stuff down. And actually, I say that because don't wait on a VA. Not because it needs to sell me right now. We are built, and that's what we're doing is you keep being on fire. We're going to learn you in the background so we can put the hose out with you, right? Don't put that off. Buy back your time, as Dan would say on this podcast, but study it, see what you're doing, and eliminate it, right? That's the big thing. Start getting there.
I think to follow up on that, Stephen, is, and I'm guilty of it. I think there's lots of people that are guilty of it. I loved and still love organized chaos. I found that I thrived at my previous moving company when it was month end. And it was this happening and that happening. It's a crazy adrenaline rush. And you are just rocking, right? Like, everything's just, you're having the best day ever. And also the worst day ever if something goes sideways. So it's all a twist of emotions. It's an emotional roller coaster for sure, being involved in a moving company. But what I found is that once I got a VA for my social media, once I got a VA to help me with the podcast, once I got a VA to help me with, and as an executive assistant, I found myself going, wow, I got this extra time. And what we find ourselves doing a lot is we go, okay, I got all this extra time. Boy, now what do I do? Right? Or I'm just going to now scroll on my phone. I am just going to diddle daddle. I'm going to make my tasks prolonged even more because I've bought myself back that time. What do we do then? Right? Is just because you got that time, the energy needs to be refocused on something greater. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? Like now I twist things around going like, wow, I have all this extra time to now either I am highly focused on spending time with my family instead of focusing on editing a podcast. I am now not thinking of social media as much, but thinking of what things I can do better for social media. How can we even make it 10 times better? And that to me is where I bought back my time, where my focus is completely different.
You didn't buy it from the golf course.
No.
Hey?
No. Not up there. On
no, I didn't
one,
get any better at golf. I didn't practice that even, so that didn't happen.
So if I'm going to recycle back, on day one of onboarding at Ready Rolls, that's what we recognized. That's actually why the day one first conversation we're having is, what do you want to do with your time? Let's imagine you had time bought back. What is that? What is that passionate schedule? And a lot of us say, man, if I could only go meet with realtors, if I could only go spread the word of my business, if I could only go have influencers where I could go meet with my team and coach, whatever that may be, that's why we're asking that critical question, because you're going to get into this where you're in this time of like, man, I've been in this organized chaos for a long, controlled chaos is what I call it, right? I've been in this controlled chaos for a long time. Now I just want to sit back, but we're that ready roll that says, hey, now that you do this, I set you up an appointment with a realtor that's done, that's fourth in the city. She wants to talk about coffee. I've been following her on Facebook. They're going to start going that extra mile and filling your time with what you told them on day one, because that is what we teach them is the number one KPI. It's not numbers. This moving company owner that we're setting you up with is not numbers. Very important on the VoIP system, no missed calls, but it's not numbers. It is, in 6 months, he said he wanted to be doing this with his time. We're in the background working for him and that's his number one goal. So our big thing is 6 months. That's how are we progressing Mark to be able to do business development, or is he still in operations? Are we progressing Mark to do more appointments with realtors, or is he playing with reels too much with his time? Well, then I need to contact realtors for him. And I say realtors, that's the Southern thing. It's realtors. But you know what I mean on that side. But that's kind of the main KPI that we teach at Ready Rolls day one is, what does this man want to use with his time, or woman that wants to use with his time? And that's our goal. That's what we're putting big letters on the chart. Every day we want to work towards Mark getting to that schedule. And it may be reels and it may be family, but most of the time it's, I want to grow more and I want to have more health in this business. So get me in positions to do that.
And not just a dream, but a tangible goal. For sure. And what's even a better goal, guys, is the fact that anybody that was listening to this podcast and says, I am going to block off 1 hour to listen to this Movified Wednesdays episode, is going to have about 7 minutes left, because we're going to end it here. I really appreciate both of you guys joining me again. Thank you, Stephen, like always. And Ryan, thank you, on top of having COVID, and it looks like you were spreading that cough over to Stephen. I don't know how, but both you guys were hitting that mute. So fantastic. Thank you very much. But yeah, we made it work, and I really appreciate you jumping on, Ryan. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. So,
always a pleasure.
Till next time, everybody.
You can tell this guy's energy. Like, he said he had COVID and the flu in the last week. Can anybody tell he's coming in here hot?
I
wanting
still
to talk
have
about
COVID.
moving.
It's not going away. No, it's, like I said.
Yeah.
Yes,
he's
we
coming
lost
in
him.
hot. We lost him. He gave it all. He gave it his
Ryan,
all.
Ryan was coming. Ryan, you came in so hot that I think you
just
lost the
deleted me.
connection there. You were just like you went from a 6 to a 11, and I don't think the camera could take it. Yeah, no
I
we
thought
still
for
like
sure
you.
I just got canceled. I'm like, we were just talking about getting canceled. That's all it took.
One
Just like that, boom,
podcast
I'm done.
later.
But no, like I said, anytime I get back to the industry and have some fun with it, COVID, no COVID. And, again, appreciate the opportunity, Mark, to be on the show. Steven, it's always a pleasure jumping on any show with you and having those conversations as well. So hope to see you boys at some conventions upcoming. And I know you guys both today.
Yeah, let's give that plug. You will see all three of us, Stephen Reed, Mark Hirschi, Ryan Marsh, at the ATA conference, the American Moving and Storage Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, March 9th to the 11th. And it's going to be awesome. Supermove is going to have a booth there. You're going to see Movified all set up.
So 13.
We're gonna have a great setup. We'd love for those that are listeners that are going to be at the event, come find us. Let's sit down. I'd love to chat with you. We're gonna try and even get a little Movified Wednesday in there. So Steven's gonna come join us too in the hot seat, and we're gonna have some cool swag that's coming in.
We're gonna have some cool swag too. I think Tennessee, Mark's sending me some stuff to bring, so we're gonna have some cool Movified swag. I just want to say thank you for listening to Ryan and I's voices during this episode. If you made it, that is not an audio problem. We're both gassed on it, coughing. And ATA, come see us. Come to Movified. Come talk to us for a minute. Get you a shirt. If you're listening, you've heard us talk about it. We want to see you in the shirt. So I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. And again, thanks for having me, Mark. It's always a pleasure. I enjoy every week.
Of course. Anytime, and everybody stay Movified.